Hey campers, Georgia, back in the man cave. Yeah, you caught me standing up and fiddling. What am I fiddling with? A box of sharp and shinies. Well, a box of sharp and shinies. What I'm talking about is, the other day I went through and sorted through and put some projects together. You can see, I have them all in nasty little bags. And yeah, I can't remember why I put them in there. Plus, underneath it was this. What's that about? You know what? Let's choose a project. We got a bunch to look at. Let's check them out. So here they are here. We got a bunch of boxes. Let's go through these packages and see if one gets my immediate attention. Oh, wow. What is that? I don't even know what I have in these things anymore. Here we go. It's a camper. Oh, wow. Look at that. It's a PAL camper. Huh. And I didn't put a note in the bag. Don't know where that came from, but I kind of like that idea. It's been a while. What do we got? Ooh. What do we have here? Look at that. I didn't know any better. That looks like a case. Right? I have a case sitting in a bag. Wow. It is too. Look at that. Sodbuster, right? Got it. Ooh. Look at that. Case XX. Wow. I'm going to say Camillus Electrician. Oh, look at me. I'm all over this stuff. Forest Master. That's Colonial. Yeah. There we go. Colonial. That's a pretty cool little knife, right? Nice little 3-blade. Look at that. Oh, I like that. Right? This wasn't a good idea, I'm just going to say. I thought it was. What do we got? Imperial? Is that? Look at this. Look at this. It's a Camp King. Right? But look. Look at it. Camp King. Imperial, right? Oh. Nope. Hammer brand. Man, I haven't looked at a hammer brand in a while. I'm not too keen on that. Look how big that thing is. Looks like I made that. What's this? We have a Barlow. This is an it's an Imperial. This is an Imperial? Look at this guy. Look at the blade. Look at that. It's got that iron maker look to it. That blade's pretty beat up though. I wonder why I'm putting them all together. What is this? This has got to be a hammer brand, right? Just look at the handle. It's an unusual one though. Look at it. It's like almost, I don't know, stubby. But I don't know. Look how perfect that stamp is. Has a pattern number. You know what? Let's look at these. Let's look at these, clean them up and see what we can find out about them. Update. Look at in the box that I had you, it's just knives in there, not in bags. And look what I found. You know? Oh, it's smaller. Look at that, it's smaller. Can you see that? Let me show you what I mean. Look how much shorter that one is. And it's a hammer brand. We'll add that. Let's go play. Okay. I looked at those knives again. to try and figure out why they were all in the same bag. Well, I was wondering about this guy because on the blade it says Imperial. Right? But if you study it carefully, look at that logo. Hammer brand. Huh. Oh yeah, that's right. Imperial owned Hammer brand. So we got 4 hammers, not 3 and an imp. What are we going to do with them? Here they are here. And what we have is that, right? We've got a 2-blade jack, Hammer brand. The blade is a wee diddly beat up. See that? I'm thinking of replacing it. I have to replace it. I'm going to see if I have another hammer pen blade. And of course it's got to have the pattern number on it. Hopefully. Really like this handle. Look at it. Isn't that pretty? Right? Hammer brand. They always do that. And then clean it up. It's basically a swell end jack, 2-blade. And then we got this Barlow, which is an Imperial Hammer brand, where the blades, they're pretty cool. They have that distinctive look, the hammered effect, like it was just forged. This blade here, it's a little worn in the middle. That's not unusual. Maybe we can just reduce it a little, but not too much. I don't want to take too much off when we sharpen it. So, and this guy has the cracked ice handle, but it's destroyed. And I'm thinking that I want to clean this guy up and put a new cover on it. I'd like to do just plain white because I don't have one like that. I'll have to see if I have some vinyl. But we'll be doing that and cleaning it up. And then this guy, well, it's almost perfect. It just needs a good polish. Just a polish, maybe 2500 grit. Clean it up and a polish. I do like this. It's not really cracked ice, is it? I'm not sure. You see how lined it is? It doesn't have those shapes on it. That's more cracked ice than that. Anywho, that's what we're going to do. So let's have at it. So I think what I'm going to do with this guy, it's pretty rusty and on the inside. So I think I'm going to dip him and let him sit while I work on the rest, and then we'll do the handle and whatnot on this. Now I can let it sit and whatever, and I don't care what happens to the cover here. I'm not worried about that because that's going to be coming off. So I'm just going to dip it right here. And we'll let him sit while we take care of the others, and I'm going to look for that first. Okay, so here is the knife that we dipped. And if you can look, if you look, I left it in there for quite a while, and look how the blades and tools patinaed. Makes it really dark. And that makes me think I want to try something. I have some white vinyl, and I'm wondering if I can patina these blades as dark as possible and put a white handle, vinyl handle on here. I think that might be pretty cool. So I'm going to try that. We're experimenting here, we are. Yes, we are. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take the knife apart, totally apart. And I'm going to dip liners and everything, the springs, in some vinegar and mustard. And let it sit and see how dark we can get the patina. So let's do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this off and get the clamshells off without breaking anything. and then take the knife apart. And let's see if we can do this without making a complete hash of it. Ha! Experimenting. There we go. Now comes the tricky part, and let's get these clips off. Ugh. Mary's tearing up my chair again. She's been a terror lately. Come on. Ugh. There we go. And the boss wants to know what's going on. Okay. I've got both of them off. Let's take this apart. Okay, so here we have it apart. Huh. Now, we're not going to be able to patina the brass. We'll leave those, but what we want to do is these ones. All the plain carbon stuff. So we're going to make a mix and sit them in there overnight. We'll give it a good soak. We'll clean up the rest in the meantime. So I've just got some regular white vinegar. I'm going to put that in here. Just want enough to soak them. Now, I'm going to put mustard in. This is not ideal. The best mustard, believe it or not, is that cheap yellow mustard that you get in the little yellow containers. I don't have any, so I'm just going to try this. I'm sure it'll help. It will smell nice. Huh. Now I'm going to mix it. So I'm just and in they go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're just going to let them soak in there. So now I'm just going to give these a rub and clean these up. I just want to make sure these are clean. There's no rust or anything on them. We'll wipe them down with some alcohol to make sure they're clean before we put the vinyl on. Just using some Scotch-Brite, giving them a rub. And of course on this side as well, because the vinyl comes over, you want to make sure it's going to stick. Just like that. And we'll wipe it off with alcohol just before we put the vinyl on. When you clean these up, you've got to be careful you don't push in these little indents, because that's where the clamshell clips on. If you squeeze them in, you're never going to get the clamshell back on. So be careful of that. I'm just using some 1500 here. I just want to get some shine out of them. This is what I'm talking about. If I put these down here and start pressing on there, I'm going to squeeze these little things in, which wouldn't be good. You'll notice these brass liners are just coated with brass. If you rub them too much, they're eventually going to turn to silver, so that's why I'm using just this light stuff just to touch them up. So we gave them the quick clean, and the nice thing is you can get in here, so when you look in the well, they look clean. That's the great thing about taking a knife apart. You'll also notice that these two are not exactly the same. See that? This one has a cutout in it, which means it's designed to go in there for that piece that sticks up. So it actually goes against the side here, and this is your middle splitter of the tools. So now I'm just going to let the tools soak overnight. I want to really see if we can get a heavy patina out of them. Okay, so here we are with it all in pieces, and as you can see, I took out the tools. They were in there for about 24 hours. And you can see how the blades are patinaed. When you compare this to that, you can see the difference. And what I'm hoping is that when we put it all together and we put a white handle on, it'll really stand out. Well, that's the plan. So I'm going to put it together, pin it all together and everything, and then we'll do the handles. So let's have at it. Remember, when you put this together, these have to be positioned so that when you put the clamshell on, it hooks in there. So be careful you don't do it that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some nails. I like to use these things. They work great. They actually make pretty good pins if you can find the right size. And they're just small enough so that you can put it together without having to force anything in. They're a little loose, but you can still work with them. Is what goes where. That's why when you take it apart, you lay it out. We've got this divot here for a reason, and hopefully we'll see why. I'm going to turn it that way. Anyway, let's put it together and see what happens. So we put there is a liner. It's actually a double liner on one side. You got your end and then an inside liner. The spring, which is only held by one pin. So because it's a multi-blade and it has tools on both sides, you can't pin one end. It's just the tension on the springs is here, not on one end. I hope this is the right way. We'll soon find out. I do take pictures, by the way. Always do that when I take things apart. Take a picture of it so I know what it should look like when it goes back together. Liner, the end liner, and remember, we've got a hook into there. So here we are here. Now I'm wondering why that little divot is there. Can you see that little divot? And I wonder, I'm not really sure, because that goes there. You see the divot there. I'm not really sure why they have that, and now I'm concerned. Let's put all the tools in and see if we can actually reach them. That one we can reach, that we can reach, so we can't reach this one. And this has that long edge to it to pull it out. So these two are on the wrong side. They need to be this side, because if you look, the nail pulls are on that side. So what we have to do is switch them around again. See, here you see I took it apart. Now the problem we had is, if you look, the nail nicks for this are wrong. We need to switch the tools around. Okay, after much fiddling around, I got it together. The problem we were having was that I didn't realize that if you look at the knife, 3 tools have the nail nicks on the same side, and the awl is what that divot's for. So now we're kind of sort of correct, except I see one mistake. So that opens with that cutout. You can reach that edge on the awl, and then on this side you can reach all the nail nicks. The knife actually barely, I remember that, and that. So there we are set. We can pin this, allegedly. So I just like to use tape just to hold it together while I pin these two, otherwise pins and that fall out and gets loose and all that good stuff. Now there's one other thing we need to do, and that is we need to shim where we pin so that we don't pin it too tight and you don't get any tension or your walk talk doesn't work properly. So I have this little shim that I use, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in here. I'll put it in this side because it fits easier, and that is going to stop me from over pinning too tight. So now I can start pinning this, and then once we have it tight, we'll go to the other side and do the same, and then we'll just tighten them up to make sure that they're not over tight. You go a little bit slowly, one at a time, and do it. Always flatten out your pin so you get an even peel all the way around. Be careful you don't hit this and squish it down. You'll never get the clamshell back on. Okay, we're pretty tight in there, but if I pull this out, now we have a gap. So we're not really over tightening it. I just don't want my pins to fall out. We'll clean these up afterwards. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So now we got our 2 outer pins in, and like I said, we're going to tie them up later because there's going to be a gap from the shim we had put in. So we'll be tapping on that to get the tensions right for your walk and talk. Now we got to put this pin in. I'm going to use this, which is one of those nails, and the good thing is you pointy here. So when I'm going to push this down in here, and hopefully it won't drop all the way through. Get all this stuff out of the way. And then using this to push in by pushing that point all the way down. And because this one is pointy, it'll, even if it's not closed up tight enough, it'll still fit through the gaps and push itself through. I need to pull the blades and everything out of the way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to squeeze on this, and basically what I'm going to land up doing is lining up the holes of the springs. You're tensioning up the springs, and then you're going to put this in and just tap it through until it pops through, just like that. And now you've got the pin in there, and you've got your tension on your springs. Let's pin this one, trim it off and pin it, and then we'll tighten everything up. Now on the center pin here that's holding the springs, we want to tighten it up as tight as we can. It doesn't matter if it's really tight, because the springs just rock. And that's all we need, and they're just going to take the tension of the blades. So we want to tighten that up as tight as we can. Just want to get this one side peened, and then we can trim it down on the other side. So now we got the center nice and tight here, no gaps. Now we got to adjust these. Okay, third time's a charm. Finally got it together. It took 3 goes. Yeah, 3 goes. First of all, I put the double liners on the wrong side. Should be the side with the awl. Because what was happening was this, the blade was going on the wrong side of the awl. So when I took it apart, I put it all back together again, only to find that I had put the spacers, these liners in here, the wrong way around. You see how, if you look carefully, they're not the same. You see how long it is there and how short it is there, which has made room for the blade. So when I put it all together again, the blade was hitting the liner and it would sit up like that. So I had to take it apart again and turn the liners around. Here we are. Woot! That only took 3 hours. Anywho, so now we're ready. This guy will sit down here, and now we're going to put the covers on here. Tomorrow. It's late. I'm tired and frustrated. So, I'll do it tomorrow because I'll just mess it up. Okay. Morning, campers. Another bad night, coughing up a lung. But we survived. Let's do the handles. So what we got to do here is put these on. Now I just cut some vinyl, white vinyl, and we're going to put it on the handles. So the first thing we want to do, I did clean these up, got rid of all the rust and everything. Now I want to just clean them off to make sure that there's no residue or anything on it. I'm going to use some alcohol, and then we'll put these on, trim them down, get them all on there nice and smooth, we hope. These are the tools I use. These are all, this is a cooking implement, and it's rubber. It's really flexible. It's great for smoothing down, getting rid of bubbles and things. And this thing, same thing, it's rubber on the end here. A little soft so you can get into small areas. This was a tool I used back in the day when I used to build models and modify them and things like that. So let's have at it. We'll clean these up, we'll put these on and trim everything up. And don't forget to do this side because it's going to fold over. You want it to stick good. Make sure all the edges and everything are clean. Just don't want anything that's going to stop it from sticking. Let them dry very quickly. They dry quick, the alcohol. I'm going to use my little X-Acto here just to trim, cut off stuff and things like that. It's nice and sharp, small, easy to work with in them little hidden areas. Let's get this. Now it's obviously it's way big and I can trim everything down. So that's what we want to do here, but I just want to make sure. Just put it on there. Like that. And now we've got to work it to get rid of bubbles. And this is why this works pretty good. And I'm just going to work it along here. Now, I've never been totally successful at this. It seems if there's any little dirt or anything, you will struggle. Now, all I did was cut a little hole on the this part so that I could push any air out that's around there where it sticks up, because that will be being cut out, so it'll allow me to get all the way on it without no bubbles, he says. Now, I have a heater which I'm going to use. I will show you that. And you can heat this up and it goes on way better. Let me get that. It's just this one. It's the Chandler Tour Ultimate Heat Gun. Fairly inexpensive and works just fine. You don't need a lot of heat. You just want to get the vinyl to get a little softer so you can work it easier. And I'm just going to put it on low. And I'm going to heat everything up here. I should have actually heated up the handle first. Now I'm just going to work it a little bit more here into the hidden corners. And down the sides. You can see how you can mold it a little bit better when it's heated up. A lot softer. And now I'm going to work over the edges just like this. Tuck it underneath here. Working it. I want it nice and tight around those edges. And there we are there. And as you can see, we have some bubbles. And for some reason, I've never been able to stop that happening. I don't know what is on the material that causes it, but you can see it's not sticking at all to it. Is it a big deal? Not really. This stuff's pretty tough, and as it cools it'll shrink a little tighter. Going to do the same thing with this one, except we've got that to take care of. The whole badge thing. Same thing again, I'll cut along there so we can push air out. Now we got a lot of problems. And there we have it there. And now we let it cool down, and then we'll cut along the edges and expose all the metal we want to. So now I have to trim everything off. And this gets really delicate. And even sometimes I'm successful at it. But we've got these little knobbies we've got to cut around and get the excess off and clean it up. Trim off the edges here. And then we're going to have to do the same thing here, except we've got this badge as well to do. So you just go slowly. Now we're going to cut around these circles, and that is a test. So there we have, it looks like a pin, kind of. And repeat. And there we are there. Pity about that, I might redo this one, but for now, just wanted to show you the process. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, I have bubbles. Can you see them? There's one there, one there, one there. I'm not sure what causes it, and I think what I need to do is actually sandpaper the surface. You know, with maybe 10,000, even go so far as, well, 1,000 and go as far as 10,000. Clean it all up and try it again, because something, and I don't know what it is causing these little bubbles. It's unfortunate, but like I said, does it really matter? I'm not sure it does. Let's put it together. We got to put these on without breaking clips, which is always dramatic. And push it in, because it's kind of tight. You hear it go in there. And then we got to get this on here without breaking it. Well, here we are. 4 days I've been working these projects. And it didn't end well. This knife, remember this guy? I had to get, let me show you. Remember the pen blade? Okay, it's totally destroyed there. And I looked through my stuff and I found one on an old beat up hammer brand. I found the exact same one. The only difference is it didn't have the pattern number on it. Otherwise, the same. So I thought, you know what, I want to change that. I'm going to replace it. And I started to grind off the pins, and disaster happened. I went to start on the second one and this dropped out. See that? That's the spring. Well, half of the spring. It was probably really, I noticed that opening and closing the blade, there was no real tension on it. And I was thinking that the actual blade, the tang of the blade was worn and so I'd have to replace it anyway, and I thought that was the reason. Well, it turned out the spring was almost broken, and me grinding away and whatever finished it off. So now I got to find a spring for it. So I thought, that's it, I'm done with this project. We're gonna have to put that on hold. The knife, this knife that I really like this knife. I got to fix it. It'll be a project I will fix. I put it in a little baggie here and start looking for a spring. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of swell-in jacks. Old beat up ones. So I'm going to have to look around. I might be able to find a spring that I can modify. That's the plan. Anywho, so this project failed. This one was in really good condition. I just polished it basically. I haven't sharpened it. And if you look at the main blade, it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. It's a little worn. It's not something I can't fix, and it's not a big deal. It's not that badly worn. I love these blades though. Very nice blades. So, and there's that. And then of course this one, which was in excellent condition. There was nothing wrong with this one. And this is that Camp King that had the odd handles, the cracked ice handles. It looked like normal cracked ice on the one side. Here you can see it here. See that? Looks like your normal cracked ice, but yet the other side is not quite the same thing. But as you could see, I literally polished it. That's it. Really good condition. I really like this. I like and I just need to clean up the blades, sharpen them, and we got us a good solid camper to go with. A couple of Camp Kings, and then this guy. Now I wanted to do this. I actually did what I wanted to do, and that was when I thought not much you can do with it. The handle, the celluloid was all broken and all that goods. A handle and some, we'll make a new handle cover for it. And then I thought, I won't get rid of the patina. I'll put it in some vinegar and whatever, and mustard, and darken it all. And here you can see how it came out. Now it's just really heavily, it's a forced patina back, basically is what I did on the blades, and then put the white on it. Fun project. I like the way it turned out. It's pretty cool. It's a little unusual, and it's a Camp King. Now what's common to all these knives, I did not know this. I thought the only Camp Kings were made by Imperial. And yeah, I know, Hammer brand was owned by Imperial, but I'd never seen a Hammer brand Camp King, and here we have one. So I actually have two Hammer brand Camp Kings that I didn't even know they did. They're not the same. Here you can see them, okay? And they look basically the same thing, right? Except one is bigger. This blade on this one is huge. And I'll put them together. This one is way, way bigger. I'll line up one end here, and you can see how it sticks out. This is way bigger than this guy. So very cool. Say hello to Mary, who's going to go and get a drink. I have that little thing of water there that for some reason she loves to drink out of. So, anywho, like this, I did not have a good time with this project. Came out the way I wanted it to, but I kept making little mistakes, not paying attention. To be honest, I don't feel very good. I'm still struggling with this flu, cold, cough, whatever's going around. They tell me 6 weeks of dealing with it is the way it is, and it is draining me. And I'm really struggling with it. And, I start the project, be working on it, and I just feel really bad. I have to stop together, and here we are. And I've done this handling thing a couple of times. I feel like I'm getting better results on it. Like I said, I need to figure out these little bubbles. I looked at the handle very carefully. There's nothing there. But for some reason, whenever I do it, I get that little bubble. And I can't get rid of it. I actually can press down on it, and it just pops back up. It's not sticking there. There's something on the handle that's not letting it stick down. So I think next time I do it, and I'll try again soon, I'm going to sand the whole thing with like 1,000 and then 10,000, and then clean it off and make sure it's all good and see if that helps. But I like the result right now, and I think it's a pretty cool look. Let me know what you think. So there you go. You win some, you lose some, and on my channel you see everything. Good or bad, here we are. I'm planning on putting some shorts out. I haven't done that in a while. I'll start putting shorts out, and that's what I think I'm going to do as well. When I do projects like this, I'll put an end result short out on it, so that if you miss the video, you can have a quick look-see. So there you go. Learning. Pay attention. If you don't feel good, step away. It helps. Just saying. Don't be getting sick like me, because I'm fighting this. Been to the doctor, taken all the drug regimens, and he said, let me know. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer. If I don't feel any better, I'll be going back. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. I got a lot of projects to do. I'm just taking it easy. My projects typically would take me anything from a whole day to 3 days, 4 days to do, depending on what my schedule is, work, doctor's appointments, don't feel good, whatever, doing other things. So it's hard to be consistent, and I apologize. I try. Sometimes it works, sometimes not so much. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. And we'll see you again soon.